Alright, what's up boys? Today we're going to be going over 3 ways to improve your corner speed in MX Bikes. By implementing these techniques, I have gone from buying the game to a month later making my first pro race to eventually doing this.
And there's Ryder, your 2021 250 champion, dominating into this championship.
Yeah, baby! Let's go!
So if you too want to start winning in MX Bikes, be sure to watch this video. Number 1. Lean back everywhere. Now, a big mistake I see a lot of people make in this game is they lean forward in the corners. Now, if you've come from MX Simulator, or if you bought the game trying to translate real-life techniques into this game, leaning forward in this game actually does the opposite effect of what you think it would. In MX Bikes, leaning back in the corners helps the bike rotate, it helps keep the back end stable, and it also gives you maximum traction out of the corner. In MX Bikes, traction is a huge part of this game. You never want to break traction in this game. Obviously in real life and in MX Simulator, around certain corners you would want to pivot off that front wheel, to help you rotate the bike. But in MX Bikes, breaking traction is the #1 way to lose time in this game. So not only does leaning back make the bike more stable and help you turn better, but it also ensures that your back end will almost never break traction. This might seem like a hard habit to break, but I promise once you start leaning back in the corners, you will see an almost instant improvement in your corner speed. Number 2, learn how to apex corners. Now if you watch Formula 1 or any other type of road racing, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Apexing corners allows you to carry as much corner speed as possible, as well as using as little of the track as possible, so you're saving a bunch of time by doing this. Now there is many different ways to apex a corner, and every corner is different, but the basic concept of apexing a corner is this. Let's say the corner is turning left. You'd want to start on the far right side of the track as you're approaching the corner. When you start turning for the corner, you want to be aiming for the most inside point of the corner as possible. That furthest inside point is called the apex. After you hit the apex and you're exiting the corner, now again you want to go back out to the right hand side of the track. What this does is it makes the corner wider than it would normally be, therefore allowing you to carry as much speed as possible throughout the entire corner. This concept mainly applies in flat corners, and you can see it almost everywhere in motocross, but in supercross, you'll mainly be seeing it in the 90-degree corners because you take the inside line on the 90-degree corners in supercross and you usually don't use the berm. Down below I have linked different videos if you want to learn more about apexing corners and the ideal racing line. Once you apply the knowledge of knowing how to apex corners in MX Bikes, you'll be blowing by the people around you. Tip number 3, counterleaning. Counterleaning is when you put your body weight to the opposite side of the way the bike is leaning. So let's say, for example, the bike is leaning to the left, you would put your body weight to the right. In MX Bikes, counterleaning is mainly used to prevent front tucks. So if you're struggling with random front tucks or your front washing out, maybe you're just not counterleaning enough. If you've come from more arcade style games, such as MX vs ATV or the Supercross games, you may actually be leaning into your corners instead of actually counterleaning. For example, last week I put out a video on how I was struggling with front tucks around Oakland. Simply by counterleaning more, most front tucks can be avoided. Now Oakland has gone from my worst track to arguably one of my best tracks in the game. I am now 1/10 off the world record there. And this has all been done simply just by counterleaning more. Around most corners, I like to lean all the way back and slightly counterlean. But if I'm on a track where I seem to be struggling with front tucks, instead of slightly counterleaning, I almost go full crank to the opposite side of the way my bike is turning. Not only does counterleaning help you with front tucks, but it also makes the bike turn tighter around flat corners. So next time you're on the track, don't forget to slightly counterlean around every corner. Now with those 3 techniques in mind, let me show you an example of putting all that together. This is from San Diego, the latest round of the 2022 Aerial ESX Championship, and this is my fastest qualifying lap. Here you can see me apex the corner, starting on the right, apexing the corner, and exiting back out on the right. I'm counterleaning every one of these corners, especially this corner, because it does seem to front tuck. As you can see, I'm also leaning back in every corner, making myself get a good drive for these whoops. Again, I'm going to apex this corner, right there, hitting the apex, exiting. Again, apexing that corner. And like I said, you're going to want to apex the 90-degree corners as well in Supercross, like that. Right here, you're going to see me lean back a lot to get a good drive for this triple in. Then here, you will see me counter lean to prevent a front tuck. So putting all that together got me top qual in my session and 3rd overall in the 250 class. Alright, so there's your 3 tips on how to improve your corner speed in MX bikes. I'm thinking about making this a series. One for scrubs, one for rhythm sections, one for Supercross, one for ruts, one for starts, etc., etc. If you guys would like to see that, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like and a sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
My name, got the hottest chick in the game, wearing my chain, that's right, ho.